And welcome back, hour number 2, and we're going to have some interesting conversation again this hour, as we always do when Cliff High is with us, halfpasthuman.com, the website, the shape of things to come. The next part, we're going to let him tell us about that. The shape of things to come, 2010-2011, issue 3 is available right now from the Buy Now button below at halfpasthuman.com. How is the maestro of pies doing up there?
I'm doing very well. I mean, I was listening to the eloquent and erudite Mr. Salenti, and I was struck by everything he was saying, and it's like, I've got to agree. Oh, yeah, I've got to agree with that as well. Got to make a note about this. Need to agree with that.
Yeah, he's amazing. Both of you, in your own realms, are doing things that are unique on the planet.
Yeah, he's very much, I think, a follower in the sense of Buckminster Fuller in terms of a total assay of situations and trends developed from that. Now, and we leave legitimate science when we leave him and go into my work because we're truly in the woo-woo world. But I have a great respect for his ability to do an incredible amount of work to come up with the same level of detail and foresight that we end up with, our process.
It's true. And I just am amazed at his ability to articulate that on what we call the mainstream media.
That is truly astounding. The ability the fact that he's got access.
Yep. Yep. He's it. I guess they treat him as a curio of some kind, and let's get crazy.
He doesn't come across
Gerald
that way. They may attempt that, but the passion there,
once he starts to talk, people listen. They're hearing something that is amazing on television. They're hearing someone speak from their mind and their heart, not from a teleprompter or some memorized dogma. I mean, it's remarkable. He is a mirror. You are a mirror, and holding mirrors up can be dangerous business. But without them,
we just don't know exactly how ugly we are. I got you. Yeah. By the way, let's before we move on off of any subject, his note about the potential for the powers that be to start doing 9/11 kind of crap again is very well taken, because we've had a shift in our data post-processing on this last report, because we'd had a context shift forecast for December 29th. And that has actually moved up to the 19th, and I needed to let people know that because I'm not sending out any updates or anything. But
on the 19th?
The 19th of this month, which is a Saturday, about 5:51, I believe, Pacific Coast time, a.m.
10 days from now.
Yeah, correct. That's where the context has shifted to. Now, a context change for us is where the last one we had was when we were all bumbling along and we thought of illegal aliens in a particular way, and then all of a sudden there was all the brouhaha, the marches, and the expansion of our context, so to speak, right? Sort of makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so the day that the marches happened and there were millions of feet on the ground, there was a huge emotional context change. Lots of new words came in under the descriptor for illegal alien. So we're expecting something along those lines. I don't say, the illegal alien issue or immigration or whatever, but something on a mass scale.
When you say a context change, you're talking about something of a cerebral nature, an emotional nature?
No. You will definitely feel it. You do. One day you woke up as Jeff Rense. I don't really have a clear idea what the hell's going on. No offense. Mm-hmm. And then by the end of that day, you had a real understanding that, geez, the next big thing everybody's going to be talking about was the immigration issue, right? Mm-hmm. Because all of a sudden it just kind of ballooned out of nowhere, and there were these mass demonstrations. In the background, you probably could have picked it up because we had anticipated it by about 3 or 4 months, that there would be a context change on that particular day, and we got it. I think we were off by 1 day, but it was a pretty good call. We didn't really have the full parameters, just as we don't now. The context change that we're expecting is probably related to the dollar, but it could also come from and something that's sort of like a distant cousin to the dollar problem, such as the powers that be trying to cover up the bank mess by declaring a national holiday because, somebody comes in and makes all the money radioactive or whatever. I'm just picking a nasty example to think of. But, any kind of a terror accident or incident could be used.
When did it shift from after Christmas to the 19th? How recent was this?
Well, we did the processing 2 days ago.
Uh-huh.
And that's when I noticed it.
Uh-huh.
I always run the data again, all the immediacy values, even though the report is out, because there's all kinds of cleanup I have to do. And one of the things I do is update my charts for significant events like context change and tipping points. And a 10-day shift like that is not particularly unusual in our data because the immediacy data itself has a tendency to haul events forward if we get a large mass of immediacy data affected by a particular kind of an incident, not much in the way of long-term. So it sort of shifts our timing clues forward, and that's actually what has occurred.
How big of a spike is this?
This context change will be every bit as large as the last one, which was the illegal immigration issue. So, you know, all the brouhaha around that. Context changes are not like tipping points, though. A tipping point is like 9/11. Our lives on a daily basis were instantly different from that point on, and it matured over time, and it kept rolling on long duration. Context change, we had it as a brief flurry, if you will, and then it died out. We still have this broader context, but the emotional impact of it faded over time, if that makes sense.
Emotional impact. Now, I've always been curious, and some people have asked me about this, and I can't speak for you and your work, but the idea of your data showing something of a substantial and significant nature happening on a certain date, from that point on, is it not possible that the collective unconscious can take over and run with it, react with it, exacerbate it, do other things with it? Because we've got a hell of a lot of energy when you have 1 billion or 2 people focused on an incident.
I'm sure that's the case, actually. The nature of it, we have a joke around here, and George, you and I, and Igor and myself are always saying it, and that basically is every time we look at the future, it changes. Because we look at it. And it's even worse if we talk about what we see. But there can be that, and that's actually why we do this, okay? Because it would be terribly depressing to say, oh, you know, X, Y, and Z form of doom is approaching, and not think that there was something that can be done about it. And here's really what we're shading towards. We make forecasts, and there's like basically 3 forms of, if you will, predictive science. There's prediction, which is sort of written in the stars. I can make a prediction that the planet will rotate today and tomorrow, and the sun will apparently rise in the sky in this appropriate position. And that's a prediction, and it's set in stone, so to speak. Then there's prophecy. Prophecy is like, well, and a prophecy, to a certain extent, is like your previous guest. He's saying, here's a certain set of trends. Humans are involved, and when humans are involved, it can get really ugly, but we're just projecting the most likely outcome, because we've seen humans involved in the past. And so prophecy can change on you. You can say the trend is accurate up to this point, and then all the humans suddenly became aware of the trend and changed it because they didn't want that future. And that would be, I think, a good use of prophecy. Another use of it would be to get people so horrified at the outcome that they become frozen in the, deer in the headlights kind of an issue and get hit by the outcome. Where we are is in between. We do forecasts. Our forecast can lead to prophecy, and that's what we're actually hoping for, is that we can do a forecast where we say the Israelis are such buttheads that they're acting on the orders of people they don't really even understand and are moving towards an Armageddon Holocaust like they've never seen before, and here is what we think will occur as a result of this, and oh, by the way, we think it'll occur on this day because of these reasons. Now, your previous guest wouldn't be quite that bold, because it's not within the trend line that would suggest this, and that's where we shade over into the woo-woo, and that is that we have these temporal markers relative to an emotional gradient that while he expresses it really well at a personal level, he's probably not tracking that emotional gradient. Does that make sense?
Well, sure. Well, I know. How many robots are you sending out? Webbots?
No, in terms of the actual spiders, there's well over 15,000, 20,000 at this point.
So you're crawling all over the world and reading and taking the pulse of things on levels that are, again, unique. Although, as we've talked about it long ago, you discovered that the Chinese are doing this.
Oh, sure.
And probably since you've been on this program and talked about it, and George, and people are just sucking up your work, there are lots of others who are trying the same thing now.
We know of corporations that have contacted us to purchase the software, and what they're really after is the lexicon, how we model the emotional stuff.
And that's
we were actually cracked by some,
they can't buy Cliff High.
Yeah, no, I'm not interested in the money. We were actually cracked by some people out of using a router out of Poland, though, so they got real serious at it for a while.
All right,
Igor Fitz.
Yeah. I'll bet. To remind everyone, the Shape of Things to Come is available right now. No hard copies. This is issue 3. You can get it electronically. And amazing, again, we're still at the $10 mark. I mean, this is a gift. $10, that's it. halfpasthuman.com. Current issue, volume 0, issue 3, is now available from the button below, right there on the page. It runs over 40 pages in PDF form.
It's actually closer to 58, I think, which is why we don't send it out hard copy. It's just expensive.
Well, I've talked to people, and people have emailed me and say they read it. I mean, you can read this 2 or 3 times and continue to get more out of it. It's remarkable. Okay, back in just a minute with Cliff High as we continue, and I'll never forget. What was the date last October again?
Oh, on the 7th there, yeah.
The big hit on October 7th.
Yeah.